Do you ever wonder what is intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number? The traditional beliefs, customs, and stories of a community. A community not part of the mainstream, unconventional, peripheral, or extreme. Part of an anthology, a published collection of poems or other pieces of writing. This is Esoteric Lore. I'm your host, Edward Aponte, where I push you to ponder the fringes of folklore. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Flight 2025. This is your captain speaking. Flight time will be 1,460 days or 4 years. So sit back, fasten your seatbelt, and again, welcome to Flight 2025. This is your captain speaking. Airplane crashes have something in common, and that's a black box. The black box serves as a data recorder. It helps explain why and how the plane crashed. We have a black box of sort in our world. It's called history. History helps to record and reflect the data of the time. It helps us better understand what causes and how maybe to prevent crashes. Not just airplane crashes, but when nations crash, when financial markets crash. Let's take a look for a few minutes at the black box found on January 30th, 1933. This crash was remarkable. In 1933, Adolf Hitler crashed democracy for Germany in as little as 53 days. Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of the Weimar Republic, marking the beginning of one of the fastest and most dramatic, effective process of dismantling a democracy in modern history. In less than 2 months, the Nazi regime transformed a constitutional system into a dictatorship, using the same legal mechanisms designed to protect the democratic system. Adolf Hitler, leader of the National Socialist Party, had already tried to seize power by force 10 years earlier in 1923 with a failed Munich coup. Later, he adopted a different strategy: destroy the system from within. In 1930, before the Constitutional Court, he swore to respect the law while he planned to transform the government according to his will once in power. In the years leading up to this appointment, Hitler dedicated himself to destabilizing the political system. His party, which in 1930 had only 12 seats in the German parliament, grew to 230 seats in 1932, becoming the largest force, although far from an absolute majority. On January 30th, 1933, Hitler took office as Chancellor. From his first day, he began to consolidate his control over the government. Although the Nazi had only 37% of the seats in parliament, Hitler set out to pass an enabling act that would allow him to rule by decree and eliminate the separations of power. He faced resistance from the Social Democrats and Communists, who controlled 38% of the parliament, which made the required 2/3 majority mathematically impossible. However, Hitler used a combination of political manipulation, repression, and propaganda to achieve their goal. On February 27, 1933, Parliament was set on fire. Although the circumstances of the fire are still a matter of debate, the Nazi regime immediately blamed the communists, using the event as a pretext to implement repressive measures. President Hindenburg, under pressure from Hitler, signed the fire decree of Parliament the next day, on February 28th. The decree suspended fundamental rights such as freedom of the press, expression, and assembly, and allowed for mass arrest without trial. In the following weeks, thousands of communists, social democrats, and political opponents were arrested or forced into exile. The following month, on March 5th, 1933, Germany held elections in a climate of intimidation and violence. The Nazis won 44% of the vote, a significant increase, but still insufficient for an absolute majority. However, with the communists outlawed and their seats annulled, Hitler gained the necessary control of Parliament. A few weeks later, on March 23rd, 1933, the Parliament approved the Enabling Act, which gave Hitler dictatorial powers. This act, which formally destroyed the democratic structure of Weimar, was made possible by the manipulation of the political system and the intimidation of the deputies present. With full control of the government, Hitler began a campaign of systematic repression. Political opponents were arrested and sent to camps established in March 1933. At the same time, the regime began to centralize power in Berlin and eliminate the autonomy of federated states. The Interior Minister reorganized state police and used the brown shirts as an auxiliary force to suppress any form of dissent. On March 21st, 1933, Hitler used the so-called Potsdam Day as a propaganda tool to gain the support of conservative elites and project an image of national unity. Dressed soberly, he appeared alongside President Hindenburg, who was wearing his military uniform, at an event designed to symbolize continuity between the old regime and the new. Shortly after, Joseph Goebbels was appointed Minister of Propaganda, consolidating the regime's control over the media and eliminating any vestige of a free press. Although Hitler's rise is now seen as inevitable, historians point out that several key decisions could have changed the course of history. President Hindenburg's initial reluctance to appoint Hitler as his chancellor, strategic mistakes by opposition parties, and a lack of cohesion among conservatives played a crucial role in facilitating Hitler's path to power. The case of Hitler is an emblematic example of how an enemy of the democratic system can use its own legal mechanisms to crash it. Hitler's rise and consolidation of power in less than 2 months underscores the importance of protecting democratic institutions from those who seek to dismantle them. I can't but help see similarities in our day. President Hindenburg, President Trump, similar characters, both acquiescing to and signing off on all things Adolf Hitler. In our case today, all things Elon Musk. Both men hungry for power, greed, destroying a democracy. Presidents in America have this 100 days of a presidency. The first 100 days are important. They set the tone, they set the stage for our voyage into the next 4 years. As we examine the black box of history, if I had one word to summarize the first 100 days of this administration, it would be the word crash. About 20 years ago, the movie Crash won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. The famed movie critic Robert Ebert wrote about the movie Crash the following: "The result is a movie of intense fascination. We understand quickly enough who the characters are and what their lives are like, but we have no idea how they will behave because so much depends on accident. Most movies enact rituals. We know the form and watch for variations. Crash is a movie with free will, and anything can happen. Because we care about the characters, the movie is uncanny in its ability to rope us in and get us involved. Not many films have the possibility of making their audience better people. I don't expect Crash to work any miracles, but I believe anyone seeing it is likely to be moved to have a little more sympathy for people not like themselves. The movie contains hurt, coldness, and cruelty. But is it without hope? Not at all. Stand back and consider all of these people, superficially so different, share the city, and learn that they share similar fears and hopes. Until several hundred years ago, most people everywhere on Earth never saw anybody who didn't look like them. They were not racist because, as far as they knew, they were the only race. You may have to look hard to see it, but Crash is a film about progress. End quote. Speaking of progress, you might be saying, what is the purpose of this episode? We're all living on a crash site. Crash is an acronym. Stands for chaos, riots, anarchy, shame, and hopelessness. There are going to be three types of people living under these crash sites. There are going to be the protesters, the punished, and the pacifists, which is going to be the majority of people, going about their day living as if they were not on a crash site. You might be saying, I don't get it. I don't live near the Potomac River where that plane and helicopter collided a few weeks ago. I don't live in the neighborhood in Philly where that one plane crashed into that neighborhood. I don't live near a crash site. I don't live in Germany 1933 when democracy was crashed and destroyed and dismantled. But that's the point. We are all living on a crash site. History's black box shows us that. If you like this video, please subscribe, share, and give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you next time.